What's going on, Average Joes? I am back, and like I've said in the past, I am traveling. I am not in my normal setup, but soon, next week, I should be back in my normal office setup. So better sound quality, better video quality, all of these things. So just bear with me, but I will be back to my normal self soon. And today I want to talk about series not to binge. Now, this is just my opinion on series you're going to read. I think it behooves you to break them up because of series fatigue, because of thinking about them, because of just in my experience, I think it's better, or it's at least doable for you to break up if you need to take breaks or space out your series because you have all kinds of other things going on, or series that you're reading alongside, whatever it is. These are series that I think you should not or don't need to binge. So starting off with the big one, once again, my opinion, and I know a lot of people have actually done this series as a binge. They just get sucked into it, especially if you're doing the audiobooks, and that's Dresden Files. Now, I really, really do like the Dresden Files. I've gotten really into it. I think this year I've listened to 3 or 4 books itself, in general, or yeah, this year, and I've done like one every other month or something like that. So I've spaced them out, and there are one of the reason, I mean, honestly, to binge is that there are 16 of them. So that is easy to get. I think 16 or 17. That is easy to get fatigued and bogged down if you're just getting that same over and over and over again. I mean, especially if audiobook for me, if I'm hearing the same narrator for too long, they kind of become white noise. Let me know if you kind of agree with that, but if you're actually reading them, even so, you might get to a point where you're just thinking, I just want this. I just need to get to the end of the story, and I was feeling that at times. And with Dresden, it honestly happened to me on book 3. I Once I discovered the series, absolutely loved the first one. I, despite popular opinion, really liked Fool's Moon, the second one. I drove from San Diego to Dallas in like in 2 days, so like 12 and 12 hours, or whatever. Listened to the entire book on that car ride in 2 days. Fantastic. Got back from that, went straight into Grave Peril, and the first like quarter of it, I was into it, but then after a while, it was just white noise, and I was zoning out a ton during the book, and by the end of the book, I was kind of like, well, I think I kind of know what happened, but I wasn't really into it. And I know a lot of people love Grave Peril there. They think that Grave Peril is the first really good Dresden book, and everybody thinks it's one of their favorites, but it's kind of my least favorite so far, and I'm through the first 9, and that's just my fault mostly. And I just got fatigued and just binged it too much. So to me, especially audiobook wise, if you are binging a series, kind of need to space them out because the narrator can just turn into white noise. You adapt to it too much. If you're actually reading it, it might be a little bit different. So that's just why I need to preface it with that. But Dresden Files to me is you don't need to binge. Also because it's episodic. I said this in my low commitment video, which I'll try and link below. I'm terrible at linking videos below, by the way. I say it all the time in videos, but if you've ever checked my links below, you can call me out on it. It's fine. I rarely, because I'm not going to remember what I want to link below. Anyway, in my low commitment series, I said Dresden is a great one because you can just throw them in whenever. Each book is episodic and they all connect. So even if you pick up one now and then 4 months later go, okay, I'm going to pick up the next one, then it's fine. You can just pick up where you left off. It's super easy. That's also why I think you shouldn't binge these, because there's something awesome about taking a break and going to other books and series and then going, you know what? I want to listen to something that I know I'm going to like. Let's throw on Dresden, and it feels like coming home, kind of. Next one, Saxon Saga. The first 3 I've absolutely loved. So this, if you're not familiar, Saxon Saga is what the Last Kingdom show is based off of. And so Uhtred is my pen broke. Uhtred is the main character, and the first 3 I went through pretty quickly, and then just because of Dresden and other nonfiction stuff, I would space them out. But this year I've read 2 or 3 of them, and even though I've tried to space them out, it's gotten kind of old. I've gotten a little bit fed up. At times things just run together. Uhtred's always going and fighting with different people. He's fighting against somebody one minute, and then he's fighting with them against that other people the next minute. It's kind of like just rinse and repeat a lot of the same things. They get older, people die that he knows, he gets married again. It's kind of just a cycle. But the one of the main things that bogs me down with the series that I just get tired of hearing is that every single decision that's made, I guess this is just turning into a rant. Every single decision that's made, everything, every logic that anybody ever does is based on religion and their God's will, whatever it is, whoever their God is, it's their will. They think it, they're just using that as an excuse. And after a while, if you binge a series, it just gets old. It just gets eye rollingly old and repetitive. And I think, I think it's good to space those out. So I listened to the last whatever one I'm on like 2 months ago, and I probably won't. I might not even pick up the next one until next year. I don't know. It's going to be a while. I just need a break. And yeah, so Saxon Saga, I think space them out. It's fine. Next one is The Expanse. This one, I actually the first couple. This is a kind of a theme. Whenever I get into a series that I really like, I'll listen to the first couple, and then I just kind of need a break. The first couple I really loved, and I think I've kind of gone up and down because the first two I absolutely loved. I think the third one I kind of was losing some retention of it. Fourth one I get piqued my interest, whichever one when they went to that planet, and then the next one's kind of stayed off, and then there's another one that kind of dropped off, and then now I'm at book 8, Tiamat's War or whatever. I took an 18-month break from Dresden or from the Expanse because after the book 6 and 7, they were just kind of things just got either a little too crazy, a little too sci-fi, a little too convoluted, and lots of stuff going on to remember. And there's not even just to remember, but just pay attention and to retain. So I needed a break, and 18 months might have been too much of a break because I kind of don't remember what happened in book 7. I'm like 80% through Tiamat's War, but I think I still need to watch a recap from book 7 because I just forget certain details. So maybe don't wait that long. But the refresher was great because I picked up Tiamat's War and I have been really, really into it. I have been loving it. Being back with what James Marsters, I believe, is the audio book narrator. I'm doing Expansive audiobook. Another fantastic narrator, by the way. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving it, absolutely into it. So that's another one that I recommend, mostly because it is long. The books are long. They are big. The series is 8 books now. I think book 9 comes out later this year. And it is very heavily sci-fi, space travel, space opera. There's not a ton. I mean, at times there can be a lot of characters to remember, but there, you know, the important ones. And after that, there's secondary characters. So it's not that much with the characters. It's just a lot of space jargon at times, and you can get a little bit bogged down by them if you don't really stay on top of it or are really into it the entire time. Next, going to some middle grade, to Keepers of the Lost. Well, one thing is middle grade is a fantastic palate cleanser. If you have a middle grade series that you like, it is a fantastic palate cleanser from all the adult fantasy series that you might read. If you read darker fantasy or adult fantasy, epic fantasy, you can just throw in a middle grade because it's made for middle grade. So if you're an adult reading it, everything will be easy to recollect. Typically with these middle grade series, they give really good, very clear recaps of what happened, what everybody's situation is, because their audience is middle grade. So they really dumb it down for you, and it's awesome. And usually there's really good atmosphere in middle grade books. That's why I think they're great palate cleansers. But Keepers of the Lost Cities specifically, because even though the world is great, I've talked that this book a lot in positive sense for this, that, and the other. The characters can get really annoying, and that's because it's probably middle grade. Like the main character is this girl, and the friends that she meets, they are just instantly they BFFs with her. They will follow her into fire if she chooses. Whatever she does and she wants to do, no matter how deadly or stupid it is, her friends are just like, "Yep, no, I'm coming. Don't question it. Whatever. I don't care what you're doing. I'm in." Like, so dumb. It's the repeat of the same thing. They keep the same secrets. They say, "Okay, no more secrets," and then they keep a secret. It's just the same crap over and over. The adults are terrible. They let these kids do all kinds of stuff, even though they're trying to hold them down. But they're like, "Well, you should probably do this anyway." So the characters get annoying. That's basically my main takeaway with this. And that's why I think stringing it together is, as an adult, can be kind of a bad experience, maybe. But mostly, it's a really good palate cleanser. I haven't read one of these books in a year and a half or something. And it whenever I think when it comes to Christmas time, for some reason, Christmas time is just middle grade feels, Harry Potter and stuff. So I might pick up the next one, but it's yeah. Next one is the Chronicles of the Black Company. I am through the first two books. I will be reading book 3 after the one that I just started. And the reason why this one is because this is kind of on the opposite spectrum of it is very adult. It is, well, book 1 is kind of terrible to follow. You are going to be confused, and the narrative is kind of terrible. There's things are hidden from you for like ever and never even really explained because it is read through the annals of Black Company, which also that just the fact that it's written through the annals, that basically the diary of the Black Company, isn't even clear for like ever in the book. All of these things that could easily be clear in the beginning that he could have made clear are not. And so you're going to be confused with book 1. Book 2, like it's weird, even though these books are short, I thought they were going to be quick, like somewhat quick reads, but even though book 2 was short, there's only like 275 pages, but it reads pretty slow, which I don't know why. I don't know if like, how like not all page counts are treated equally. Some of them have big font with double spacing. Then there's other ones with like teeny tiny font, single spacing. I feel like that is the case with Black Company. It takes me just as long to read a 275 page book, Black Company, versus like a 400 or 500 page other fantasy book. I just don't know why. So they kind of can be a little bit heavier because you have to actively use your brain a lot more because things are not going to be spoon fed to you. Things are not going to be explained super, super well. You kind of have to draw lines and figure them out depending on what perspective you're from. In book 2, it gets so much better. So I think from here on out, it's going to be a lot easier to digest. But if you're starting off the series, I know after book 1, I needed a break, and I took about a 5-week break from book 1 to book 2, and now I'm ready for book 3. But I don't think it's something you can binge. And there are 10 books, so I'm in the the North Company, whatever, omnibus right now. Next, I'm going to the South. I don't know how that transition is going to be. That might also be a reason why to not binge, because I think there's 4 omnibus, and each of them have, I think, 2 or 3 books. So you're probably going to be introduced to new characters. So so the first 3, I'll finish the 3rd book and be good to go. If I go to book 2 or to the next ones, I might be introduced to completely different characters, different part of the world, and so that's why I think binging them to not binge. So not, and I'm only in the first 2 books, so this could change, but I just don't think it's a bingeable series. Next is Rhaenyra, Revelations, Chronicles, whatever. Honestly, this is not a knock on Rhaenyra at all. This is just this is a great palate cleanser. This is a book that you just want to go back to Royce and Hadrian. It is super easy to pick up and see what adventures they're on. That's about it. That's why I think this is not a bingeable series. If you want to binge it, go ahead and binge it. I don't think you're going to get series fatigue from it because they are so fun to be around. Some people have binged it. There's a ton of books. So as of right now, there's 10. I'm going to put air quotes in 10 because there's like 4 actual Rare Chronicles books and then 3 double bindings of Revelations, however you want to consider those. I consider one binding 1 book, but they're technically 2 books. So yeah, binge them if you want. If you love Royce and Hadrian, you just can't get enough, read straight through. I read straight through one entire book, so that's 2 books at once. And then I'll go a couple of months, then I'll read the next one because they're just so awesome. Like, it's just awesome to be back, and you can just pick it up whenever you want. So you can binge that one if you just really want, but I think it's easy to just not. And again, I think this is another one of my low commitment series to read. And lastly, I'm going to say The Dark Tower by Stephen King. This one actually hasn't gotten any traction on my channel at all. I've through the first 3 books, and that's because it's been a long time since I've read. It's been exactly a year since I've read book 3, and that's because, and one of the reasons why I say not to binge is because the multiverse reading within it. Now, I know some people are like, they're just going to do Dark Tower. I'm going to read the Dark Tower straight through, and then they'll do the multiverse reads within. And I probably should have done that because I'm not familiar with much multiverse reads, but I decided to, if I'm going to read the Dark Tower, I'm going to throw in multiverse reads in between. So after book 3, there's a ton of, I guess, multiverse tie-ins that I'm going to kind of read into, and I've been really bad at those multiverse reads. I think I've only gotten 2 or 3 read since the last the Wastelands book that I read. And I guess in my defense, I don't even have book 4 with me. It's somewhere else that hasn't been sent to me, but that's fine. I still have, Insomnia and the Standard, which are huge books. Anyway, that's one reason, is because there are multiverse reads you can put in between. Also, the Dark Tower is kind of crazy. There's a lot of crap that goes on. Again, book 1, super confusing, just like the Black Company. But this one is actually logical why it's so confusing, because even after book 1, after you read book 2 and book 3, you see the ties that book 1 has. And if anything, it's the first book the Gunslinger should be the first book you read and the last book you read. It might be the first ever reread I ever do, because of all the tie-ins from every single thing that happens in the other Dark Tower books. So yeah, that some of those books can be a little bit longer, but some people have them going straight through, and that's fine if you just want to go straight through the Dark Tower. But I think you don't need to binge that series. I don't think. I think you can tie in other things. There are websites with reading orders listed of, like, okay, in Multiverse and Dark Tower reading order, this is how you should do it. Again, I'll try and link that down below, but call me out if I don't, because I always forget to do these things. So yeah, Dark Tower would be my last one. So what are some series that you do not advise you binge, or ones that could just be good standalones that you throw in? I mean, you can binge if you want, but they are also just as good to throw in as, whatever random reads that you might want to do it just to continue the series. So yeah, what are some of your non-binging series that you would recommend? And we can chat more in the comments.